So this is the same style as doing henna body art. And I'm doing this process called slip trailing, where I am piping liquid clay on clay to get textured lines. Hi, I'm Bala Thiagarajan. I am a full-time professional artist. I came to the US as an immigrant from Chennai, India, where I grew up, to pursue a PhD at Kansas State University. It confuses a lot of people because you don't hear a lot of artists who have a PhD. My background is wildlife diseases. Biology was the goal. Any other middle class upbringing in an Indian household, you grow up with this idea of wanting to be a doctor, an engineer, or something where you establish a career, right? Art is not seen as one of those. And actually, I didn't even know I could do art till I started painting. I love piping paint. The reason I started doing them is I grew up with this art that's called Kolam in South India. Millions of Tamil women do it every day around the world. So my thought was wanting to do that on a canvas that I could hang by the entryway. And that's kind of how I fell into the art world. It felt like, oh, I could do more of this, taking a break from biology for a bit. It just took a life of its own. This is where my creativity is. It's not in cakes. And it's been 13 years. It's all discovery along the way. Honestly, like everything you see, I don't have a vision in my head when I paint, right? It's not about the steadiness of my hands. It's about how I can control my breathing. It's like I start with a blank canvas and where it takes me, it's unknown. So when I finish a painting, it's as new to me as it is to you seeing it for the first time. My main technique is grounded in how I can bring in my culture. So you see one of my paintings, it could be just henna, or if you know more about Indian stuff, it's Kolam, or when you see a portrait, it's like, oh, it's a dancer or it's a bride. And so there are all these different points of connection that leads back to celebrating a culture. When I was back in academia, it's like, oh, you do lab work, you do field work, you do statistics, there's so many different things you do. But once you start doing art, there's the business side of art and then there's the creative side. But there's also this, you have to constantly keep evolving and do more. The masks in particular, I started doing them about the same time I started painting portraits, and it's nice because there's two different mediums, but they inform one another in how I create. Portrait series is a mixed media series. That's a new thing that I just started like a year and a half ago. And it is my way of showing the power of everyday women. In a sense, I never added labels to my identity in the past, but now it feels like I do have to, say, hey, I am an Indian immigrant woman doing this, because it brings visibility, not just to me, but to also other underrepresented artists in the community, whether it's women artists or BIPOC artists, right? It's adding that extra voice to what I do. We can be anything we want. I'm not labeled or boxed in by like, oh, I used to be in academia, I was a scientist, or I am just an artist, right? We are all so much more, and it's nice to be able to be part of that. It's inspiring, especially for kids, that they don't have to grow up with this idea of like, oh, I need to be a doctor or an engineer or any of that they can do whatever they want. One of the reasons I paint mandalas and not mountains is wanting to highlight my culture and doing what I know, of course, but also I want kids to grow up with more than what their parents grew up with, what their grandparents had as art in their homes, right? We live in a global world, in a global culture, and I want kids to experience that, and I see my art as a means for doing so. It's my identity. It's everything that I bring to the table of who I am. It's not just my art, it's not just my language, it's not just how I dress, right? It just all comes in together. Art is the easiest way I can express it.